My child is not well. If children and young people are unable to cope with everyday challenges or developmental tasks on their own or develop mental health problems, this is usually first noticed by relatives or teachers in educational institutions. Any problems that arise should be taken seriously. Early professional counselling is advisable in order to promote the child's mental health and strengthen their resilience. Relatives should always be involved as a relieving, protective and supportive system. It may emerge during counselling that therapy is required. Children and teenagers where counselling makes sense, frequent abnormalities. Infant 0 to 3 years. Restricted calming ability, excessive crying, feeding problems, sleeping difficulties, attachment disorders and so on. Some of these symptoms also occur in infancy. At the toddler stage, which is from 3 to 6 years, we might observe withdrawal behaviour, defiance and problems with cleanliness. There could be abnormalities in language, such as vocabulary development, sentence formation and language comprehension. Additionally, fine and gross motor movements might not be developing as expected. Problems with self-control, like impulsivity and aggressiveness, can also appear. Changes in behaviour due to stressful situations, such as parental divorce, bullying or starting school, are common. Learning difficulties, including issues with pronunciation, reading, spelling, arithmetic, attention and concentration, can also be a concern. In the schoolchild stage, approximately from 6 to 12 years, signs of a depressed mood and loss of interest in reality can emerge. Joylessness and fear of social or performance situations might become evident. Some children may show delinquent or incipient addictive behaviour, while others may struggle with compulsive thoughts and actions. Problematic eating behaviours can also be a part of this stage. As teenagers from 12 to 18 years, the challenges can intensify. Depressed mood, loss of interest in reality and joylessness are not uncommon. Fear of social or performance situations may persist. Delinquent behaviour or the beginnings of addictive habits can surface. Compulsive thoughts and actions along with problematic eating behaviours may also be present. Optimism helps those affected a lot. What feelings do relatives of people with mental health problems have? Uncertainty, fear, anger, despair, feelings of guilt and much more. Relatives often lack information and support, especially at the beginning of the mental illness. Left alone, many are overwhelmed. Unfortunately, the feeling of having to protect the person affected prevents some relatives from seeking help. How do relatives protect their boundaries? Those who support a family member in need often go beyond their own limits. However, this cannot be good in the long term, neither for the family member nor for the patient who feels the excessive demands. Protecting your own mental balance, even with the help of others, is healthy and sets an example. Your recommendations for first aid for the soul? Be there for the person who is ill. Stay calm and call in professional help if necessary. Don't lose hope. The hope of a relative can also rekindle hope in the person who is ill. After first aid for the soul, you should recharge your own energy reserves. In dialogue with those affected, the fear of being labelled crazy can be a significant concern. How does a person recognize that he or she needs professional help? In principle, it's the pressure of suffering and the fact that you don't know what to do next. Experience shows that it takes the longest when someone has a mental health crisis for the first time. External pressure to seek professional help is usually counterproductive. The decision to do so must come from the person affected themselves. Why do people in crisis seek help so late? The reason for this is very often the fear of being labelled as crazy. The suspicion of being ill only arises when the symptoms are very pronounced. In our view, this is due in no small part to the widespread stigmatization and taboo surrounding mental illness. How can friends and relatives support people in crisis? By signaling to the person concerned that you are there for them and keep asking how things are going, but without putting pressure on them. There is also nothing to be said against obtaining information about offers of help for those affected and pointing them out to you. What they then do with it is entirely up to them.